What's up, Doc?
Groaners, you join us today for our Easter special. The chicks are chirping, and the bunnies are bouncing, and the lambs are gambling. I didn't get any Easter eggs this year, but if you did, aren't you sick of chocolate already? Well, as mentioned, it's Easter, and we are chock full of facts. Thanks, Nicole. Fun and Groantent. Not to mention, we also start our 20 episode countdown to 200 episodes of the Groan Zone. Yes, this year will be our bicentennial episode, 200 episodes of the podcast. But let's stick with Easter now anyway. The audience groan rolls in from an Easter egg this week. You'll hear more about that later on. You might be aware I'm putting Easter puns in now and again. My apologies. Admin Nicole drops us our first fact for Easter now with the first Easter fact drop. The name Easter owes its origin from Eastre, the Anglo-Saxon goddess who symbolises hare and egg. Easter is often spelled Ostra, Oistre or Ostara. Ostara is also a Northern European name for Astarte, which means womb, and is another name for Venus, the goddess of love, passion and creativity. Thanks, Nicole, for the very first fact. The fact drop will return throughout the episode. We play our first game now, which is Easter themed, yes or BS. We've done our best to try and cram as much Easter in this episode as we can. Apologies if we repeat ourselves, and apologies if not everything can be Easter orientated. Round 1, the Cadbury Crazy Round. A. The Cadbury Cream Egg is 55 years old. B. The oldest Cadbury Easter product is the Cadbury Chocolate Easter Egg, first introduced in 1840. Or C. In 2001, Cadbury released a square Easter egg. Pause here, groaners. Pick your statement, then unpause as we move on to round number 2. The random Easter round. A. There is such a thing as a cheese Easter egg, which is often called a Cheester egg. B. Easter lilies are associated with fertility. Or C. 1820 saw the first Fabergé egg released. Pause here, groaners. Again, pick the statement that you think is true, and then unpause. Round 3, the Easter badness round. A. A bad child will often find coal or dung in their Easter basket. B. In Germany, the Easter hare would check which kids were bad or good. Bad kids got nothing. Or C. In Italy, the carbone would leave la befana for bad kids. Pause it, groaners. Pick a statement that you think is true, answer, and then unpause. The answers will roll around later. Are you sick of the Easter puns yet, groaners? They're cracking, aren't they? Now, we must ask our favourite question, which is of course, why oh why? Chocolate eggs are supposed to be made with cocoa and dairy milk chocolate, right? Why are we living in an age now where they are substituting decent things with crap ingredients? We know things are expensive now, but for crying out loud, leave Easter eggs to be quality instead. Stop putting things like palm oil in and rubbish like that. Cheap products altering Easter eggs. I just have to ask, why oh why? Admin Nicole returns again with Creepy Corner. Your story for this week is called Horizons Dawn. Jeremy knew, just to say, groaners, this continues from last Easter. I know I'm probably going to say it, but I don't know how Nicole keeps track. Jeremy knew they had to follow the farmers, but Beatrice warned him it was impossible. She knew exactly where they were headed, and she had tried to follow them before. The room was protected with whatever they used to stop ghosts from knowing. As Beatrice explained before, a lot of rooms were protected from them. If rooms are proofed against us, then they know where we are, and as you said, they can see us, so we know we're not alive. I remember that all too well, but it could be that we aren't dead either, Jeremy asked. Beatrice asked Jeremy to follow her. She didn't have the answers, but she knew something. One of the rooms that were protected from them entering had windows from a vantage point. She knew Jeremy was smarter than her, and if anyone could understand it, it would be him. Not to mention, while her nail varnish was useless for spying, Jeremy died with his binoculars, and that would be exactly what was needed. The two had to be careful. The farmers could see them, even if the cameras couldn't, and neither wanted to find out what happens when they get caught. They ran down several flights of stairs, past countless rooms, and through each one, Beatrice warned Jeremy to keep looking forward. She didn't want him seeing what was in those rooms. The vantage point was close now, but Beatrice stopped. They had to run past this one last section to get to it, and she didn't want Jeremy to see what was waiting for them. A narrow corridor with 6 rooms, just like the one Jeremy and Beatrice woke up in. 6 padded cells with children in them, just like them, except these were nothing like them, and there was a time in her search of this awful place that Beatrice looked inside one of those rooms. A scar now etched permanently to her memory. She stood in front of Jeremy and took his hands. No matter what, look only at me and never let go of my hands. It's a short walk to the vantage point, just never take your eyes off me. I'll walk backwards to make it easier for you. Just you and me, that's all you need to think about, she said. Jeremy was wary, but he felt her hands shaking and promised not to take his eyes off her. One step at a time, eyes locked on hers, hands gripped tight. Just a short walk through the next doors, and it was over. Beatrice crashed to the ground, glad to be done with it. It was worth it though, anything to get them closer to shutting this whole thing down. There were 3 large windows looking out into the factory below. They thought it was a factory anyway, but it was more akin to a farm. There was grass, a barn, even the sun or something to fake having the sun anyway. Jeremy took out his binoculars and looked down at the sight below. In the same way that Beatrice was able to use her nail varnish for leaving hidden messages, Jeremy's binoculars had also been strengthened. He could see much clearer with them, but the most useful of all ways was an additional switch next to the dial he always used to zoom in. His binoculars now allowed him to see heat signatures. He could tell who was alive and who wasn't. Initially, he looked over at Beatrice with them. She glowed a bright purple, not usual for a heat signature, but it did, in a way, confirm a theory of theirs. Not quite alive, not quite dead yet, still no idea what they were. Possibly both, if it was even possible, to be alive and dead at the same time. The barn doors below opened as chickens and bunnies were released. It all looked so peaceful and innocent. Jeremy looked over at Beatrice in confusion. She told him to get down and just watch. The farmers walked into the barn, 3 of them talking to themselves. This vantage point had built-in speakers to allow them to hear everything. This is what Beatrice learned as much as she did. So is it going to be a bunny or a chicken this year? I heard everyone started placing bets again since that chicken won, one of them said. Are you kidding? The boss has got so annoyed by him. Just another lousy kid who thinks he's better than us. That parade was a mess. I don't even want to remember all the stress that damage control caused me. Besides, it's our job to raise these things. Poor fluffy little bunny doesn't even know it's about to become so much more, the other replied. Another farmer walked into the room different from the other 2. He carried a pitchfork and wore a metal helmet. Beatrice whispered to Jeremy that this was in charge of the others. We're on high alert this year, boys. A bunny won, so take your pick. Eggs are getting cracked already, and the chocolate is melting. There is no room for error this year. Alex Bunnington is about to become a part of the flock. Make sure you grind those bones properly now. I'm sure I don't need to remind you what happens if another incident occurs, he explained. The 3 men stood there laughing amongst themselves as Jeremy clamped his hand down on Beatrice's mouth. He knew how she felt, but they couldn't find them. This was not the time for empathy but survival. Horizons dawn may be upon them, but someday this roost will fall, and Jeremy will be the one holding the torch. Nicole, 1. I don't know how you keep track year on year. 2. An Easter special involving bone grinding? Really? Finally. 3. How in the hell do you come up with this stuff? Well tracked and well written. The special will continue next year, Groaners. Sticking with Nicole, fact drop 2 hits now. In Italy, the explosion of the cart is a tradition that started over 300 years ago. The cart, known as a bridolone, stands over 9 meters tall and is pulled by a pair of white oxen from Via il Prato to Piazza Duomo. Apologies, Italians, if I've butchered that. To sit between a cathedral and the baptistery. At 11 a.m, the Archbishop of Florence stands at the altar and lights a dove-shaped rocket to symbolize the Holy Spirit. This rocket is fired into the cart, causing the fireworks on top to explode. This tradition is called Scopio del Caro and is followed by a parade in medieval costumes. Fact drop 3 will be upon us as soon as the second game is done. Game 2 is Talking Nonsense. Round 1. You know this one, Groaners. You've got to spin the gibberish to make sense. Round 1. This symbolic Easter treat doesn't just have to be eaten at Easter. Your nonsense is no sort of. Round 2. This Easter sweet isn't just around at Easter. Your nonsense is skein and black. And round 3. This jolly creature often appears at Easter parties to give out sweets and treats. Your nonsense is let's see if you can either pause after each one, Groaners, or you can listen to them all together and then guess what each one is. The answers to these backwards bafflers will come later on. We've played games and I've groaned, but now comes our special guest audience groan. I was walking through a shop the other day when a box called out my name. It turned out to be a sentient Easter egg which had been on the shelf since Christmas just gone. It seemed to be angry about having less freebies in for people, its friends having flatter backs so people get less chocolate, as well as knowing being made of cheaper products made it taste cheap and not the quality of past eggs. It also didn't understand why smaller eggs were a thing and why they were costing more and more year upon year. Someone then came by and lifted it off the shelf finally, as it waved goodbye to me. To be fair, the egg did have some valid points to its groans. If you want to groan in like the Easter egg did Groaners, you can do so in a number of ways. You can shoot off an email to thegroansonepod@gmail.com. If you know me personally, or I'm Nicole personally, give us a nudge and have a word. You can put a comment down on any of the episodes that you've listened to on any platform, as long as you let us know which platform it is and which comment it is. You can find us on Facebook groups under the Groan Zone Podcast Facebook group. You can find us on Facebook Messenger, which for me is Mr. E. Groaner, and for admin Nicole, it is Nicole Amos. And lastly, you can join us on Discord, where you can leave comments and the like. Thanks for any input you give us, Groaners. Your feedback and ideas and groans are greatly appreciated. We now name our Zero of the Week. Every time a special occasion rolls around, it always seems some idiots have to cash in. Yes, some fruitcake has again made a knockoff kind of Willy Wonka experience. Only this time, it's the Barbie experience. I don't know what the hell she's got to do with Easter, or roundabout Easter, in Florida. The creators of the event promised an unforgettable experience. They advertised a roller rink and disco with a caption that read, "Join us for 3 days of glam, nostalgia, and dream big energy made for Barbie fans of every generation." Ticket holders paid up to $450, that's £340, said it was far from a great experience. Photos of the event show a grey convention centre, which is a massive space, with pink cardboard cutout Barbie signs. Really? Mattel have stepped in to promise full refunds to people who bought tickets. Definitely zero status for those who built this disappointment. I know I did say admin Nicole's Fact Drop 3 would come after the last game, but I had to squeeze in a little bit of Groantent there. Admin Nicole hits us with another Easter fact with Fact Drop number 3 now. In the town square of Hawks, that's H-A-U-X, thousands of people gather on Easter Monday to celebrate Easter with a ginormous omelette. What goes into this cracking recipe? Puns. Dozens of cooks use over 5,000 eggs, 50 kilograms of onions and garlic, and 4 kilograms of salt and pepper to make this omelette. Everyone at the event gets to join in and eat some for lunch. This tradition has been taking place in France for over 30 years. That is a lot of omelette. Our near final game comes in the shape of 50-50 now. Round 1. The most popular Easter egg which scored high in the UK was either A, the Sainsbury's Tasted Difference Extra Large The Mint 1 Belgian Dark Chocolate 230-gram egg. That was a mouthful. Or B, Choco-loaded Lemon Drizzle Egg 225 grams. Pause here, Groaners. Pick your 50-50 which you think is right, and then unpause. Round 2. Another name for Easter Sunday is either A. Packer or B. Pasha. Pause your groaners, pick your 50-50 and then unpause. That's it for the 2-rounder 50-50. Think about them for a moment as the game answers are coming next. From last week, Nicole's anagram anxiety solution was Choco-loaded. It's a traditional Easter bread in Greece that is often braided and includes dyed red eggs. Talking nonsense. Round 1. Your nonsense was a hot cross bun. Round 2. Your nonsense was Cadbury mini eggs. And round 3. Your nonsense was the Easter bunny. For yes or BS, round 1, the Cadbury Crazy Round. If you went for A or C, congrats, you have points. If you went for B, that was false. It was actually 1875 and you have no points. Round 2, the Random Easter Round. If you went for A or B, you've still got points. If you went blank in round 1. If you went for C, again, you have no points. It was actually 1885. Ironically, the same year that Marty McFly went back to that year in Back to the Future 3. Bit of movie knowledge there for you, Groaners. Round 3, the Easter Badness Round. If you went for A or B, and you haven't been blanked in the other rounds, you've still got points. But if you went for C, you have no points. It was actually the other way around. La Befana would leave carbone, which is black sugar candy, for bad kids. 50-50. Round 1. If you went for A, you have a point. For round 2, if you went for B, you also have a point. And well done, Groaners, if you scored points in any of the games. But we've one more game for you before you go. I said it to return, and here it is. What the hell are we? These statues appear on Easter Island, but I want to know what type they are, and I don't mean head-shaped, of statues they are. The answer will come in next week's episode, Groaners. Admin Nicole takes us out with a final fact for Easter with fact drop number 4. According to legend, Napoleon was travelling across southern France with his army when he first tasted an omelette, which was prepared to him at an inn near Bessères. He enjoyed it so much they had a giant one made for his troops the next day, and so began the tradition. Thanks for tuning in, Groaners, and here's hoping you had a chick and chocktastic weekend. I'm going to bounce off now, but we'll see you next week. Apologies if this episode isn't out bang on Easter. Take care. Bye bye. I scan when the